Garage Shed podcast.
Yo.
I'm Gavin Ford.
Bit right.
Aki.
And this week, we've been asked a question.
Ooh.
Aki, in the YouTube comments.
Yep. The question is, do you think that not being able to go clubbing will have an effect on the potential growth of UKG?
Very well read, Ak. Very well read.
Who asked that?
Who asked that, Ak?
That is from Chris Gill.
Man like Chris Gill.
Great name, by the way.
Yeah.
Chris. Good in that name.
Who's first? Who's
So,
going
Chris, do you want to go first?
Well, I've spoken about this privately, I think, in the past, that I think, musically is where my main issue comes up.
You've said it on the podcast.
I probably have done. I'll go on about it probably a bit too much. Musically, I think it will. I'm trying not to be pessimistic about it, but I feel that once events, raves, come back into the thing, there'll be a lot of songs, great songs, that have been made over the last 18 months that I fear will not rightly get played out in clubs, because the nature of the DJ mostly is to play new stuff as much as possible, apart from maybe people that are stuck back in the old days. And that I fear that there's a bunch of those tracks that will unfortunately get left behind through no fault of their own. They're great tracks. It's just because I think that a lot of people want to be always on the new stuff. I hope I'm wrong, because there's a lot of great tracks that have been made over the last 18 months.
Okay. I mean, I do agree with you. That is going to happen to some records. But I think that there not being any clubs during this time will actually be a great thing for UK Garage going forward, new UK Garage going forward. And this is why. Because there's been no clubs, what would have happened last year, I think, is there would have been a few festival slots that would have booked a few UK Garage people. There would have been a few they would have started to pop up. There would have been videos of people playing certain records, big records, and they would have got big reactions. When you're a producer, the first money is in gigs. That's where the first money comes from. That's how you keep going. You want the gigs. You'll see the videos of these records going off in gigs, and you'll subconsciously go, I need to make a record like that to get on this gig. I need to do this to get on that show. Maybe I need to bootleg to do this to get on that gig. You think about how to get gigs. It's just normal. Like, as much as you sit there and you want to make your own thing and do your own sound, you see the videos of the big shows and you want to be at the big shows. Because there's been no gigs, and I think the big baseline people, for example, haven't released because there's no shows. Because garage is a new scene, they haven't had to worry about there not being shows because there wasn't shows before lockdown. So what we've seen happen in the last year is the garage scene has producers from producing all different aspects of garage have come through and developed a sound and a following. There's even like different labels now, and all of which fit a different, almost like a different role. So Kiwi's doing their thing, we're doing our thing. Then there's steppers clubs, and there's loads of different labels doing their own thing. We're own their own stable of artists, which might not have been able to exist in a space where people were competing for the few slots at shows. No one's competing for the show. They're just making the music they like. And I think the drum and bass has been around for so long and has never really dipped out. It's just always been there consistently because there's a collective of labels that do their own thing, and then you go to that label for that thing and that label for that thing, and they all work together, and it's not like everyone trying to make the same sound or trying to go for the same show, the same thing. So the foundations that are being laid now for UK Garage, when shows come back, these foundations will help, because people will go, okay, well, I need maybe someone from Kiwi, and I need a vocal guy from here and a vocal girl from here, or this and that, and then you can build up a lineup from all the different camps, all the different things, and build up a lineup of that. Where before it would have been 3 or 4 names competing for 1 or 2 spots because they're the ones with the right agent or on the right label or the right thing. Yeah. But now it's like you look at it and you go, okay, I'm going to put together a garage lineup. Look at this person's doing this and that person's doing that. So I think, and obviously we're going to be in this for a little while longer, I think that's only going to get stronger.
On the plus side, the amount of music made makes me feel optimistic that in a garage rave, whatever that's going to look like going forward, there is more options for people to not play the obvious stuff because the amount of stuff that's been made.
100%.
And and I'd hope because of that, songs won't get left behind because there's so much more choice to play. Do you know what I mean?
You could easily do a whole night of UK. You could easily do a whole night of new garage, and not play the same tunes twice or anything like that. Right, Ty? Yeah, just walk through.
Edit it out, it's fine.
That's right, just walk through.
Walk through.
Yeah, just walk through. You could easily play a night, of new UK garage and it not play the same thing. Loads of different DJs could play in a row without doing the same
In
set.
that case, it's down to the DJs.
Exactly, but as a DJ, I don't know about you guys, but there's songs I look at now that come out 8 months ago, and I'm like, I can't wait to hear that or play that in the club. So I don't think necessarily
some of it will come back.
Some of it will get lost. Some songs will get lost. But
some things will get lost. But some artists, like say Selector, who's released so much music in the last year, he could turn up and do a whole Selector set. Look, there's loads of people that have bought this, bought that. Tough Culture could do a whole Tough Culture set. Like Opidans, Jemmies, these people, by the time it comes out, Virgie, they could do a whole set, and there's an audience for it because they've built an audience because there's no issue. So, yeah, and I think it's going to get bit. Obviously, conductors, it's going to get bigger.
Start
and bigger.
my own raves and make sure that DJs only play music that was made in lockdown.
Yeah, there you go.
That's
No
it.
idea.
That's what we should do. That's like to make sure they don't get left behind those tunes.
Yeah.
It's like literally a rave of just lockdown music.
But I think, as I say, hopefully some of those tunes will come back or see the light of day or get to be played in clubs. But the main thing is these foundations could keep garage around for ages, for years, as opposed to like, oh, this sound is in now and everyone's trying to make one sound. Now it's a whole genre that's being covered by different producers in different styles. Certain labels have certain sounds and there's like niches of people that have a sort of sound, but essentially there's, there are great vocal producers, there are dubby producers, there are still producers, there are producers that make classic sounding garage. There are people that have just got their complete own take. It doesn't really sound anything. You've got some garage that's being made at 140. You've got some stuff that's made.
The variety's there and it's amazing.
Yeah, and the variety is what will keep it around forever. What the problem is when something goes big is the big records are like everyone's trying to do the big records, do the big sound because that's what's getting the shows because that's what's getting the thing. But not garage isn't doing that. It's like, oh, this is what I make. People are like, oh, well, I actually like this. Oh, and I like this. And I think it's always been a broad genre, and even now it's carrying over. Like you can see in like say Shosh's show or Q's show on Kiss, you can hear the variety going across it, and obviously even some of those bassline things can work in garage sets. So I think garage is in a great place because of this. I think of all the genres, garage has benefited the most from.
Yeah, I think as a label, we know that it's growing because the amount of records we're getting sent in, and also like the quality of the garage is being sent into us, and we can't actually release all of it. We have to like.
Yeah, and it's from across the world. Like when we did our dub club, if you were lucky enough to sign up for that, it was almost 50-50, UK and the rest of the world. And that's because that's from people just discovering it over lockdown, working it on lockdown, and not.
I think we agree on a couple of things that yes, there are going to be some that are lost, but on the whole,
it should be a positive.
Because of the variety that's being made. It should be like a positive as such because of the variety of music being made. But then looking apart from the music, what do we think about the community aspect of not having events? How does that affect the scene? Because obviously with events and stuff, you've got networking between producers, artists, fans, being able to feel closely more connected to things. How do we think that's affected things?
Well, obviously online is prominent now, and there's communities and things, and you can speak to people, and people are Zooming, but also there's people forming their own sort of stables and stuff. Again, I think it's always great for the foundation. So because you do these gigs and you get to see people on the road and you miss them, and that can lead to collaborations. And I think, but we would go and do a gig, and then that would get me fired up that I'd want to go and make a tune inspired by the gig. Yeah, which is normal, and I think a lot of people producers be inspired by that. But I think not having shows, you're just inspired by completely different things. And I say it's creating it's creating a spectrum of garage that I really think that we could be here forever. Well, to be honest, garage never really went away.
No. I mean, it's just like I said, just talking about the events things in particular. I think as a DJ, there's nothing like playing to a crowd for me, and I miss it a lot. Like, I love streams. Don't get me wrong, love streams. Love engaging with people in real time, and I don't take that for granted at all. But I'm desperate to actually play that music and see people reacting to newer stuff.
Yeah, 100%.
And that sort of stuff, and I'm missing that quite a bit.
Yeah, me too.
I'm sure there's a lot of people that are as well. I'd be interested to hear from non-DJs what their take is on missing events.
Yeah,
fans that are just missing events, and
does it affect what they listen to?
Right, stuff like that. Does it affect what they listen to?
And also, look, I'd like to hear what people think of. You know, what do they think about? And ask us more questions. I think this is good that we can take the time to answer these things. And I think this is what this is for, isn't it? To discuss these things. So I think we covered that. Yeah, get your questions in.
Cheers for the question, Chris.
Big up, Chris.
Yeah, wicked question. Yeah.
And we'll be back next week to answer more questions.
Also, people can let us know. Sorry, if they think what they think of if this is affecting the potential growth of UKG as well.
If there's anything we've missed, let us know.
Yeah, because we're coming from a DJ label side, so it'd be interesting.
Yeah, it'd be good to see what the actual clubbers and ravers think.
Yeah.
So let us know your thoughts.
100%. Good shout out. Yeah, thanks very much for listening. Subscribe, comment, all that jazz. What up?